So glad to see so many of you here tonight at the Miller Theater. And as president of Asia Society Hong Kong, I am so delighted to see so many of you here for tonight's program. I just flew back from the States this morning after being away for 3 weeks, and you don't know how happy I am to be back here. I almost kissed the ground because when I was flying away from Seattle, my friends were warning me about the government shutdown. They were worried the TSA was not going to work, all of the stuff that was going to be going on in the States. So the minute I arrived in Hong Kong this morning, I am so glad to be home. So, and tonight, and I especially came back for tonight's program because we are very honored to have His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Ibrahim Al Dhaheri, Director, Strategy and Future Department of UAE Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Deputy Director General of Anwar Gargash Diplomatic Academy to speak to us tonight with us about the UAE's foreign policy, building bridges, shaping the future. In this time, I think more than ever, we need diplomats and we need diplomacy. The role of diplomacy, especially, I think, a country like UAE, is really very, very important during this really interesting times. And in the region, I think all you have to do is read the newspaper or watch the news. We are living in a very what should I say? I'm trying to find a positive word, but really, really geopolitically challenged time. But with challenges, I think there are opportunity for peace and opportunity for bridge building. And those of you who know that Asia Society Hong Kong this year, we're going to be celebrating our 35th anniversary. In fact, October, it's officially, I think we were signed, the paperwork was signed with Asia Society in New York to establish Asia Society in Hong Kong. So it's very appropriate that we start October with tonight's program talking about importance of diplomacy. And I see many of our Consul General here, including the Consul General from UAE. Welcome back, Consul Generals. And I also see students and many of our members. Please, be part of Asia Society. We're going to have more programs like this. Especially, I was telling His Excellency how many programs we've had about the region this last 2 years, I think, and at least 5 or 6 very important program, and we're going to continue to do that in the coming days. And so I'm really delighted. I haven't seen Ronnie in ages. Ronnie, as you know, our chair, has been very busy traveling now that he has stepped down from his day job, and we're really delighted that Ronnie will be doing a fireside chat with His Excellency tonight. And get ready for your questions, and some of you will be joining us for dinner tonight, and I know there will be more questions. But again, I really thank you all for your support. Without your support, Asia Society Hong Kong cannot be as successful as we are. I also spent some time last week in the middle of, the traffic when President Macron was caught in it, when he had to call President Trump. I was in that same traffic, and unfortunately I don't have the phone, somebody to call, and so I had to walk. In one day in New York, I walked 25,000 steps because of what was happening in Anga, and so that's another reason I'm glad to be back here. And also, you've heard the news of Asia Society. We're losing another president. Dr. Kang will be leaving Asia Society. In fact, officially she left. Yesterday was her last day, and she will be taking up her post as the Korea ambassador to Washington, joining our former president, Kevin Rudd. So you can see the important role of Asia Society. We have a lot of diplomats with us in the past, and I'm sure also in the future. So we here in Hong Kong, we're going to continue our bridge building role with our leadership from our chair and our board, and with the support of members like you. We have a lot of great work ahead. And also just a teaser, we have a really exciting fun exhibition coming up in December that I think you guys are all going to be looking forward to. If you're a member, you are going to have a treat in December when we have a really special pop-up exhibition. I can't tell you what it is yet, but stay tuned. And so with that, I'm going to hand it over to our esteemed chair, Ronnie Chen, to get tonight's program started. Thank you.
Welcome again. Great to have you with us. I look out into the audience with a few exceptions who are from the diplomatic circle. Most of us are business people. And we have people from Japan, we have people from Iran, we have people from UK, we have people from the United States, and many other countries, and they're all interested in what you have to say. People may ask and say, hey, Ronnie, what the heck do you know about the Middle East? In the presence of our guest of honor today, I know nothing. But that said, I have been going to the Middle East for now 50-some years, and I go back several times a year. I go to the Arab countries a lot more than I go to Israel. In fact, 23 years ago, the then Crown Prince of Dubai gathered 7 of us to be his advisors on the economic development of Dubai. And so I have had my share of working with the government people as well as mostly in the private sector. But what surprised me is the following. And that's what I want to our guest of honor to address first. When Dubai began to open up and economically developed, I was frankly a little suspicious in the sense that will they be able to succeed? Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum has big plans. Jebel Ali, the port, the airport, the Emirate Air, all the healthcare center, educational center, all those things were discussed between Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum and the 7 of us. But history has shown that they have done very, very well. The Dubai International Financial Center, DIFC. Now I stay at the Waldorf, right at the edge of it all the time, and I have about 40, 50 restaurants, all of almost Michelin star quality to choose from. But then, of course, we all know Dubai is really not. I hope no one from Dubai here is not the big brother there. It's a little brother, and so when Abu Dhabi begin to rise, you can really see that things will really change for the entire UAE. Of course, after the rise of Abu Dhabi, now we have Riyadh, we have the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. A month ago, we had the Minister of Investment, Khalid Al-Fali, speaking here at the Asia Society. It is his 2nd time. He was a former CEO and a later chairman of Saudi Aramco. And so the whole region is rising, and for someone as old as I am, as far as I can remember, it's a Bedouin country. It's really not a whole lot of economic development. And of all the countries, I must say that I'm the most impressed by UAE. Your country have done very, very well. I think your leadership is world class. Tell us, you think, did it surprise you when you grew up? If somebody were to tell you that UAE is going to be the way it is today, would you be surprised?
Thank you, Ronnie. Let me first thank you and thank Alice for inviting me to be here. I'm really delighted to be among this prestigious audience. And I think you explained it right. I mean, it surprised us all when it comes to the fast pace of development. But did we expect that? Absolutely, we expected that. Actually, since the first day of the United Arab Emirates initiated back in 1971, we had a clear goal, a clear direction, a clear aim. Actually, let me start with a little story describing UAE back at that time and UAE currently. I'm sure you are proud being part of that advisory board at that time, and you can see the fruits of your engagement with United Arab Emirates and His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid. So I want you actually to imagine with me going back once upon a time to 1930s, 1940s, small trucial emirates, divided, living on small communities, hundreds, sometimes maximum thousands, living on fishing, pearl trade, and then the Great Depression came, 1929, and the Chinese artificial pearl, and then there was nothing there left for us, and we had to survive that time. And then British Empire, early 1970s, told us we are leaving the region. We are leaving you alone. We had a couple of communities on the coastal sides of United Arab Emirates, small cities and villages inside like Al Ain. And literally we had no economy.
Like Al Ain.
Exactly, like Al
Where
Ain.
you're from.
Absolutely, this is where I am from. So it was a small community, divided, nothing is there except mud bricks houses, some of them made of palm, small, really tiny economy, growing currently. So this was the picture back in 1970s when late Sheikh Zayed came with the leaders of Emirates, and then they initiated the Union of United Arab Emirates back in 1971. So keep this image in your head. Go to the image of United Arab Emirates today. A major international player on mediation. This is only one example. Ethiopia and Eritrea, we mediated between them. Azerbaijan and Armenia. Russia and Ukraine. Who would imagine UAE mediating between Russia and Ukraine when it comes to prisoners exchange? More than 4,000 prisoners exchange between Russia and Ukraine. UAE directly mediated between them. We are part of BRICS.
Well done.
We are part of Shanghai Cooperation. We are part of ASEAN as well. We are part of the Belt and Road Initiatives. We are part of IMEC Economic Corridors. We are the 4th largest investor in Africa after China, and you can imagine how big is China, I think. US, and you can imagine how big is US. EU as a bloc, 27 countries, and then United Arab Emirates.
As a trade partner.
As an investor, when it comes to injecting
investing.
money
Investor.
in Africa. We have been attending on a consistent basis the G20 meetings. We are still not part of G20, but hopefully one day we will be part of G20 as well. We have one of the most famous airlines, Emirates Airline. Etihad also airline is doing amazing. AD Board expanding on different places, Latin America, Africa. Dubai World as also expanding on different places. We are one of the largest foreign aid donors. Let me actually give you a recent example. The whole foreign aid being to Gaza recently, 45% of the foreign aid being inside Gaza is from United Arab Emirates. So we are one of the largest when it comes to giving foreign aid. We are one of the main players when it comes to AI. So bear the Stanford study, the recent one. We are one of the big players when it comes to AI. Actually, we signed a deal with the visit of President Trump to United Arab Emirates, which was worth 1.4 to 1.6 trillion dollars investing in AI. We will have one of the largest data center built in Abu Dhabi. We signed another deal with France. We will have the largest data center in Europe. So I'm just giving you an examples of where we were back in 1971 and how much did we achieve now. Did we expect that? To be to be super frank, we had expectations, we had goals, and we had a consistent, persistent leadership for 50 years plus. So leadership is there. They are consistent on their aims, on their goals. They know the direction, but also UAE is well known for its flexibility and agility. So whenever there is a changing, we change with that dynamics. We are living in a region which is, surrounded by conflicts. If I name the conflict surrounding us, I would need another more hour to explain each conflict, but we are still shining as United Arab Emirates and progressing within that region. So we have that consistent leadership for 50 years plus, and we have that direction that we work toward being also flexible and agile, a multi-alignment nation when it comes to our relations.
You only have two leaders since 1971.
1971, the father, Sheikh Zayed,
Right.
And then Sheikh Khalifa,
Right.
the first son, and then Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed.
the
So
third one.
three,
This is the third
exactly.
one.
Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed is the third one. And since establishment until now, we have that sort of consistent leadership, direction. This is my perspective, by the way. I know countries have different sort of systems, but having that consistency when it comes to clear leadership, clear vision, clear ambitious, and also having the force and the passion to do it. Another example, our president within the last year, a bit more than a year, he did the 30 presidential visits to different
30
countries. 30
visits outside of the country.
outside of the country, presidential visits.
Where did he go the most?
Different places. He been to US, but also to Russia, to Central Asia, also to China, to different places. So almost every single way. What is unique about United Arab Emirates is that we are one of a few nations, if maybe the only one, who speaks to every single nation. So we do speak to Iran, but we also speak to Israel. We do speak to US and we speak to China, and actually we have a deep strategic relations with both of them. We speak to Russia, but we also speak to Ukraine. And this is a unique foreign policy where we speak to every single nation and country. So we have that sort of credibility and trust between us and different nations.
We cannot touch the Middle East without touching oil. Oil was discovered, I believe, around 1936, when John D. Rockefeller stopped by Saudi Arabia. And by the way, his son is also the founder of this organization, the ASHK Society. So he founded two things, Saudi Aramco and ASHK Society, among others. And since 1936 or thereabouts, oil has been increasingly an important part of that region. And you are one of three countries that are really blessed with it. Saudi Arabia, you, and Qatar. But Kuwait also. Anyway, when did you wake up and say we should not rely on carbon energy and have to develop the economy with other sectors and even energy to use more renewable? When did it happen and why did it happen? And where do you project it into the coming 10, 20, 30 years?
Such an excellent question. Since the establishment of United Arab Emirates, and you said it clearly before in 1960s, it's well known that United Arab Emirates, among other GCC countries, we are hugely depending on oil and gas. It was the vision of the leadership. UAE is well known for foreseeing things, forecasting things, building long strategies, but also being agile and flexible to change such strategies. So you will find in UAE that we have a strategy of 2030, even a strategy of 2071. So we always think ahead years by years. Let me answer your question, Ronnie, by giving you a figure, actually, a number. 20 years ago, actually even 10 years ago, we were depending on oil by 75% part of our GDP. 75% of our GDP was depending on oil. Currently, 75% of our GDP is depending on non-oil.
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 Only
75%
25% on oil.
Only 25% on oil. So you can see how much diversification plans we've been executing. We've been investing hugely on renewable energies, being an oil producer, I mean, certain nation even attacked us on hosting COP28. How an oil producing country will host a climate change conference. Actually, it's part of our vision and economic diversification. So we do hugely invest in renewable energies, AI, infrastructure, connectivity, and you can see that by figures. 75% just above 10 years ago, depending on oil. Currently, it flipped 75 on non-oil, and we will keep doing that. So it started with the leadership vision that we have the wealth coming from oil and gas. We need to diversify our economy using that wealth. Also, we established a number of sovereign wealth funds. AGDA is one of them. Abu Dhabi Investment Sovereign Wealth Fund. Mubadala is one of them, and it's one of the largest.
That's
G42.
for Abu Dhabi.
Exactly.
Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi, Dubai has also a sovereign wealth fund. Sharjah has also a sovereign wealth fund. And we have a dedicated sovereign wealth funds for AI, like G42 and MGX. So we have even sovereign wealth fund dedicated for certain sectors. And we still look at the energy as an important thing. I mean, the normal oil and gas, but also renewable energy. Because if you want to be advanced on AI, you need energy. You cannot run huge data centers and AI systems without energy. So we are blessed with both. We are investing hugely on renewable energy. We have oil, and we are advancing when it comes to AI. So we will keep diversifying our economy until actually we don't need the oil.
You know, I remember sitting in the Rosewood Hotel in Abu Dhabi, owned by a Hong Kong family. You all know that Rosewood, right? And I was.
He
talking
told us that, by the way, yesterday.
Very good, Sonia Chang. I was talking to somebody from Mubadala, and he was telling me how much they're investing in AI. It blew me away. You use the word trillion. In my thinky little world, I still think about billion. So trillion is a little bit beyond me. But when you talk about the renewables, today, the biggest producer of renewable energy and equipments for renewables is China. They account for something like 75% of all the solar panels, and something like 70% of the wind turbine and all that stuff. What is your economic relationship with China like?
Well, proudly I say China is our first trading partner.
First
Trading partner.
trading partner.
When it comes to United Arab Emirates, our first trading partner is China. And our second trading partner is India.
Very good.
And I mean, currently India and China, they don't have direct flights between each other. But they are our first and second trading partners when it comes to trading. We have a deep strategic relation with China. We have a lot of investments on renewable energy, infrastructure, connectivity. As I said, they are our first trading partners, but also we took that relationship to another level. It's not only government to government, it's also businesses to businesses. So you will find a lot of businesses delegations coming from United Arab Emirates visiting mainland China, but also Hong Kong to do deals. And you will also find a relation between people to people. Education is really important for us, so we are sending a lot of students also to study in China mainland. But I'm also here discussing with the University of Hong Kong and different institutions to send also Emirati students here. So our relations when it comes to China, it's not only government to government, businesses to businesses, but also people to people. And this is really important for us.
And you mentioned that you are a member of the Shanghai, what do you call it, SCO. But you have observation status. You're not a member,
Yes.
right? So besides China, and in China, I can see your relationship with India. What are the main items of trading or investment do you do?
Absolutely. I mean, when it comes to India, we have different sort of relations. One of them, energy, of course, oil, exporting and importing different things to India. Also, AI is an important sector, not only for us, but also for Chinese, for Indians, for Americans. So we have been discussing a lot when it comes to that. And also, we have a huge number of Indians actually living and
Correct.
investing in UAE. So we
Correct.
have that sort of relation and
Right.
trade between us and India when it comes to goods, materials, infrastructure between us and the Indians. So it's a diversified pool of relations when it comes to us and Indians as well.
Overall, how do you see the future of that region, especially given what's happening in Hamas? You mentioned that 45% of the foreign aid into Palestine is from UAE. Uh, can you give us some idea where you think things will settle, such that business can then go back to normality?
It's Ronnie. It's a smooth transition from economy to politics.
Trying to slip in a little question.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is a good transition to politics. Let me tell you that currently the world is facing a lot of changes. Unpredictability, uncertainty is surrounding us. It's a complex, complicated sort of political landscape and environment that we are living in. Are we used to conflicts within the region? Yes. Are we good in dealing with conflicts? We are trying to play a bigger and a bigger role when it comes to sorting out the conflicts within the region. So we are trying to be part of the solutions, having a regional solutions to the regional issues, also engaging the big players, historical players internationally. But giving an example of GCC countries, us, Saudis, Qataris, we've been heavily engaging more and more on mediation efforts. Mediation efforts.
Of mediation.
Absolutely. I mentioned different examples, but also at the core of it is what's happening in Gaza. Between the Palestinians and the Israelis. I'm sure all of you saw the plan, 21 points plan of Mr. President Trump that he discussed also with our leadership. Actually, he thanked our leadership, MBZ, Mohammed bin Zayed, and ABZ, our Minister of Foreign Affairs, for giving ideas to that plan. Saudis did also contribute, Qataris. So there is a plan on the table. I think the way forward is to start somewhere, to have a ceasefire within that plan, to release the hostages, to stop the attacks on Gaza, and to build on there, because we need a foundation to start with. We cannot keep the hostile aggression, Israelis attacks on the civilians in Gaza. What happened back in 7th of October was sad to all of us, because we don't accept any attacks on any civilians internationally, but we need to stop this madness. It's a sad situation. It's a devastated situation, and we are really working closely with partners such as Qatar, Saudis, Egyptians, Jordanians, Americans to reach that solution. So there is a deal on the table. We need to start somewhere. Both parties will need to compromise. You will never reach a situation where it's a zero-sum game. It should be a win-win game. So both parties will need to compromise when it comes to reaching a deal. But I think there is a good deal on the table to start with, at least the ceasefire, releasing the hostages, stop attacking Gaza, and then slowly remove the forces outside Gaza. And then we can build on that, reaching to the two-state solutions. You need to start somewhere. We will always have differences. This is the vision of United Arab Emirates. We will always have differences. We cannot agree on every single thing, but we should build a common ground where we can start from and then build on it going forward.
The October 7 attack was what, 2023, was it?
Yes.
In December that same year, the Saudi Minister of Investment spoke for the first time for us here, right here on this campus. And Khalid Al-Faleh was very careful when it comes to taking sides. 3 months later, I was in UAE. I was in Abu Dhabi. And the head of your sovereign fund, unprovoked nobody asked him, he just volunteered how that Abrahamic Accord is a key pillar of your foreign ministry. I understand that you are an advisor to the foreign minister of UAE. Is it still the case today that Abrahamic Accord is critical to UAE? And do you think that the Abrahamic Accord, as it applies to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and Israel, is it dead, or you think that it may come back?
I mean, the questions are heating up. Uh,
You're
Well,
good at it, so don't worry,
Thank
Dr.
you,
Mohammed.
thank you, Ronnie. I'm actually I have nothing to hide, so I'll answer any questions. When it comes to Abraham Accord, if you look historically since 1948, we have been trying different sort of ways and solutions to have a two-state solutions, to have a sort of de-escalation, and we did not reach anywhere. So UAE is well known for coming up with innovative ideas, new ideas when it comes to moving dynamics, moving the political, geopolitical situation. So the logic behind Abraham Accord is to, even if we disagree, we need to engage. It doesn't mean I engage with you that I don't disagree. We still can have disagreement, but we need to engage. Because if we don't engage, we will not discuss disagreement. So this was the logic behind doing the Abraham Accords. Secondly, I'm sure you saw several statements on Abraham Accord, but also last one from currently a Minister of State, Her Excellency Lana. Actually, when she put that statement outside there, she was Assistant Minister, but currently she is a Minister of State. She said clearly there is a red line for us when it comes to the annexation of West Bank. And we managed actually to stop the Israelis from discussing the annexation of West Bank. So when we did Abraham Accords, we thought, let's engage, let's find the new solutions. Part of it, our red line of annexing the West Bank, which we, at least until now, along with other partners, we managed to push back on Israelis annexing the West Bank. This is one. And then secondly, when you look at the figures of foreign aid, can anyone imagine that we will be able to enter Gaza, have an on-ground field hospitals, flying patients from inside Gaza to United Arab Emirates, having 45% of the foreign aid coming from UAE to Gaza without having relations with the Israelis? Would we be able to do that without speaking to them? So there is a good side of Abraham Accords. Is it a challenging time? Absolutely. When it comes to the Abraham Accords, it is a challenging time because dynamics are changing. But the main point having Abraham Accord is to establish that connection, to push back on things when we can push back on things, to have a humanitarian access to Gaza, to help the people. People are really important to us. I mean, if I take you a bit away being a diplomat from Gaza, another example is Sudan. We had a case on ICJ against us from Sudan. We did not stop our humanitarian aid to the Sudanese people. We still giving the humanitarian aid while we had the case back in ICJ against us from the Sudanese, but we did not stop our foreign aid. We always look at the people. People are at the center of our foreign policy.
Very good. The sad thing is that from Israel's side, although I visit the Arab countries more, but I still periodically go to Israel, I'm afraid that because of the October 7th attack, I'm afraid that in Israel, the two-state solution is basically a dead idea. So we have to somehow rethink the whole thing. And you think that you can also mediate Saudi Arabia to better relationship with Israel, such as joining the Abraham Accord? Is that a dead issue also?
In politics, we don't have something called dead issues. Because it's the job of diplomats to open doors to discuss different things. Saudi Arabia had a really solid argument when it comes to having normalization with Israelis. They said it clearly, we need a two-state solution implemented. And then we will have an open channel to discuss relations with the Israelis. So Saudis has a really clear strategic position when it comes to normalizing relations with Israelis. And when it comes to two-state solutions being dead, I don't think so. I think it's about the current government in Israel, led by Netanyahu, shying away from that idea for ideological, political sort of reasons. But maybe tomorrow we will have a new government in Israel and then we can discuss with them. In diplomacy, there is no something called impossible. There is always a possible way of doing things. So we still aim positively that this is the only solution on the table. And then secondly, if you don't like the two-state solutions, do you have a counter argument? Does the Israelis has a counter argument, a really excellent, mature idea when it comes to the Palestinian-Israelis conflict? No, not really. So if you don't have another solution or another brilliant idea, this is the only applicable idea that we can push toward. The dynamics will always change. Political parties will always change. Oppositions will be more open to speak about two-state solutions. So we still aim that at certain stage, we will reach two-state solutions. But currently, we need a ceasefire. We need a plan. We need to stop killing people, civilians, women, and children. And then we can build on that successful first foundational step.
I always remind people that if you're a Jew in Spain or somewhere in 1492, and there was Inquisition, and if a Jewish family is chased into a cul-de-sac, which house do they knock on in order to have the better chance of survival? And I believe that they would find the one with an Arabic name, because I think that historically the Jews will have the best chance of having the Arabs protect them rather than anybody else. So it's really the turn of the 19th century to the 20th century with modern Zionism rising that the difficult relationship began. So hopefully that you're right, that gradually over time that the relationship will move back to some more normality. That's our hope. Let me, please.
Ronnie, if I can add to that
Please.
also, we need also to think of future generations. I mean, sometimes we are really fully occupied with what's happening currently. But do you think if Israel keep attacks Palestinians, do you think in the future, their future generations will live in peace and harmony? We need always to think ahead. Maybe you will win today, but then you will have another 7th of October or another Hamas attack or Israelis attack in the futures if you don't solve it now. So we need always to think about the future generations as well. Having a solution now will impact future generations positively. So we need that sort of a broadening our vision to the future and future generations as well.
Very good. Let me turn to another subject, and that is the role of the United States in your area, including the GCC countries. In the last 2-3 years, I've spoken to quite a number of leaders in the Arab countries, and 4 ministerial level or above people have told me, and that's from Saudi Arabia, UAE, Israel, and Egypt. They all told me that America is on its way out of the region, that their commitment is nowhere close to what it was before. Now, I don't think that they will be going to be 100% out, but America being such a critical player in the world and in that region, if they were to just halfway get out, it's going to have tremendous ramifications. And imagine if you're Israel and America is retreating, the fear that is in the society in Israel will be huge, right? So, what is your view about America's role today and tomorrow?
I think they are back to the region heavily. I mean, maybe at certain stage there was a discussion of Americans withdrawing from the region. I mean, and we had different issues when it comes to Americans withdrawing from Afghanistan, for example, and speaking frankly about fully withdrawing from Iraq. But I think they are fully back to the region on different multifacets way of think, economically, but also when it comes to military exercises, supporting Israelis, also President Trump's vision to deal hugely with the region. So I think it's what happened within the region, having different conflicts, not only between Palestinians in Gaza and Israelis, but also having Libya, which is still not fully stable, having the new administration in Syria. It was a big change also, having attacks from Israelis on Hezbollah, and we can see Lebanon finally having a president and a prime minister. So there is also a change. Having the Houthis in Yemen, threatening the international trade. So actually we are seeing the Americans fully back to the region. Does that mean we do not, as a GCC countries, have a multi-alignment approach? I think it's our way of thinking. We have a solid, deep strategic relations with the Americans. That doesn't mean we cannot deal with the Chinese. That doesn't mean we cannot deal with the Indian. That doesn't mean we cannot enhance our cooperation internally when it comes to Arab countries, Islamic countries, GCC. And you saw that when the attacks happened on Qatar. That summit was well attended by Islamic Arab countries and GCC countries to support Qatar. So it's more of us shifting our mindset when it comes not only to diversifying our economy, but also diversifying our political relations, having more strategic partners from the West, UK, France, Germany, and others. US as well, but also China, India, Russia, and different sort of a multi-alignment approach.
The problem, however, Dr. Al Dhaheri, is that America is a country which is financially broke. And people still take the US dollar for the time being. But I think most economists would agree that over time, the US dollar's role will only decline further. Not altogether, of course. But when America's finances no longer can sustain so many involvements around the world, they have something like 800 bases around the world, then they may have no choice but to retreat. The fact that they now produce more energy than the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. They do something like 12, 13 million barrels a day, whereas Saudi only does about 9 to 10. And so, and as the Holocaust fades into history, their support for Israel may also wane somewhat. So with all that, I fear that America may indeed be retreating faster than people think. A lot of people then say, oh, China will be happy. They'll come in to take over the place filled by the United States. I don't think so. I don't think the Chinese are that stupid. What do you think the Chinese are after in your region?
Well, I fully agree with you that Chinese are not really looking to play the American role within the region. So I fully agree with that sort of thing. Let me take you a step back, saying that the world is not anymore a unipolar world. We can call it a bipolar, a multipolar world. There are different powers, and historically this has been the case. I mean, we can remember the British Empire, and then suddenly they collapsed. We can remember the Ottoman Empire, and then they collapsed. So within the history sort of thing, there will be always different dynamics and powers influencing the politics landscape and the geopolitics. Also, I think China is looking to play a bigger role when it comes to economy. This is really important for the Chinese, not only the energy, but also being a big player when it comes to AI. So I think China is looking more and more toward playing a role when it comes to the economy, diversifying our economy within the region, energy, AI, sustainable development, infrastructure, so and so. And then secondly, China is also looking toward more connectivity. That's why the Belt and Road Initiative is there. But also, if you look at the GCC countries, we are a hub. We look at the East, we look at the West, we have amazing relations. We have advanced infrastructure in Saudi, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, different GCC countries. So I think China can build on each other's strength when it comes to connectivity between China, between West, between Africa, between different places. And so I think China is looking more toward the geoeconomics, geotechnology sort of influence than the fully geopolitics influence. But also we have evidences of China playing a growing role when it comes to mediation. I'm young enough to not remember if China mediated certain conflicts historically, but I know for a fact that they mediated sort of rapprochement between Saudis, Iranians, Bahrainis, so and so. So I can see that China is also playing a progressive, bigger role when it comes to being a mediating power. But I don't think China is looking to have a military bases around the region, so and so. And I think China also have their influence within the region. I mean, Shanghai Cooperation, so and so, but also Southeast Asia. They have issues within the South Seas to deal with. So I think China is occupied when it comes to their region, but they are really looking for a more geo-economics, geo-technological sort of influence through connectivity as well.
When we talk about your part of the world, we should never forget Russia. People say the northern bear is dangerous. I say a wounded bear is more dangerous. And Russia, after what happened with the Ukraine war, is somewhat wounded. And that may make it even more dangerous. I noticed that the King Salman of Saudi Arabia went there 2-3 times, and he's not exactly in the best of health. And so obviously your part of the world take Russia seriously. They are your competitor as well in terms of energy supply. So what do you think Russia's role is in the Middle East in the longer run?
Russia is also an international player. We cannot forget that. It's a big country. It's the biggest country when it comes to geography. They are connected to different countries. They are part of BRICS, and we are also part of BRICS. So Russia is an influential country. None of us is supporting any sort of conflicts between Russia and Ukraine. We all are there for the peace. So we are playing a constructive mediation role when it comes to Russia and Ukraine. I mentioned the exchange of prisoners, but also Saudi is playing a bigger and bigger role, bridging the gap between Russia and Ukraine, along, of course, with the US, President Trump and European partners. So Russia is important for us when it comes. We don't see them as competitors. We started diversifying our economy since long time. We have relations with different countries, east, west, north, and south. So we don't see them as competitors when it comes to oil and gas, because it's been the case. There is a specific arrangement within OPEC Plus, and we do stick to that arrangement. But we see Russia as a really big player when it comes to international politics. We shouldn't forget that they have a veto power. And within the last year or so, we witnessed actually the largest number of vetoes being used by Americans, British, and Russians. And we also, as a UAE, been a non-permanent Security Council member within that tough period. So Russia is an important big player when it comes to the implications on the geopolitical scene also. But we always believe that we should speak to every single nation. That's why we have a CEPA with Ukraine, which is a comprehensive economic partnership. We signed that. It did not upset Russians because we also have a good relations with Russians. So this is our vision, that we should speak to every single one to build that credibility and mediate between them. So we don't want to isolate any nation. We are with openness, not isolation. We are not with building walls and blocks. We are actually with a dialogue. This is our vision of conducting our foreign policy. So Russia will remain a big player when it comes to the international scene and international politics and dynamics.
I just have 1 or 2 more questions, then I'll open it up to the floor, so get ready, okay?
I saw you having only 4 questions, but I mean, you asked me more than 6 by now. I don't know if you have a hidden paper or something.
United States is determined to tear the U.S.-China relationship apart. So you mentioned AI, which is so important that you all invested trillions of dollars. It's possible that tomorrow we may have 2 systems. You have the U.S. system, you have the Chinese system. So far, what I can tell is you have been investing a lot in the U.S. side of things. But as we all know, the United States, when they are not happy with you, they can turn from being a friend to a foe overnight. And so are you going to rely on the, not just AI, but many other technology, the system, there may be 2 in the future, US and China. So what is the GCC country, in particular UAE, what are you doing in order to protect yourself such that you're not beholden to one system?
This is a critical question, and I don't think so. The answer could be a one-dimensional answer. I think it's a multi-facet sort of a big question when it comes to AI. Absolutely, we have a huge investments when it comes to AI with US. We are using hugely US technology, and this has been historical. I mean, US has an ally for the GCC countries and United Arab Emirates. And to be super frank, Chinese has a really solid, well-established, advanced AI, but Americans also have good systems when it comes to AI. I don't think there will be a confrontation between Americans and Chinese. There will be always that sort of a discussion, sort of a mini confrontations, because they are big powers. They are influencers, but I don't think there will be a huge escalation when it comes to American and Chinese. I mean, China been there for thousands of years. And China has a sort of a different political system than US. US after 3 years maybe from now, if not less, will have a new sort of a government, and then there will be a new priorities, a new agenda. While I assume China will continue have the same agenda and priorities under the leadership. So we are always, I started with saying, we are always agile and dynamic in our approach. So we have a solid relation when it comes to AI with US, but our first trading partner is not US, it's China. Our second trading partner is not US, it's India. Actually, US is our fifth trading partner. The third one is EU, 27 countries as a bloc. So we maintain solid relations, deep strategic relations with US when it comes to investments, AI, sovereign wealth funds, but we are also diversifying our economy through having relations with China. I mean, if you go a lot to UAE, you can see the electricity Chinese car. More than Tesla in United Arab Emirates. So we do have that sort of flexibility and agility, having relations with different sort of countries, and we will keep navigating that. It's not easy. We have to maneuver. It's not easy to deal with superpowers like China and US, because there will be always a sort of a competition. But so far we managed, and hopefully we will always manage to maneuver between such complex dynamics.
My last question before I open to the public. And that
I hope they don't have tough questions like you.
No, I'm a piece of cake. I'm a marshmallow. Back to business. China certainly needs your energy. They, on the other hand, can sell zillion things to anywhere in the world if they are allowed. And it worries me no end, because I think that if they were to export their rather destructive competitiveness from the domestic market into the international market, then China doesn't need Donald Trump to make them into the bad guy of the world. They will make themselves into the bad guy. They would kill everybody else's business, especially small to medium-sized businesses. That would be really terrible. So how is UAE or GCC country in general, how are you maneuvering that so that the relationship can be beneficial to both sides for the longer haul rather than just for the short run? If they were to send all their EVs to anywhere in the world, I think that it will be a terrible thing. And you don't tell me that the market will take care of it. No, market won't take care of it because the Chinese are so competitive. So what is the GCC and particularly the UAE position in this?
I think GCC countries, including United Arab Emirates and China, are strategic thinkers. And when it comes to shaping strategies, even China is careful when it comes to exporting, sort of importing relation. So I think we have that maturity of discussion when it comes to having a win-win situation. Currently, in such a complicated world, you cannot work alone, because you said it clearly, if you depend on yourself alone, even if you are a huge country, you will end up somewhere bad. So we have that sort of maturity and the solid strategic relations, having an open discussions when we have differences. And I think this is important, because if you look at the numbers, you look at the figures, you think everything is fine. But at the same time, everything is fine because we have that sort of open dialogue, discussion, and communication. So each time we meet Americans or Chinese or Indians, we do have that sort of discussion on our differences and worries. And I've been meeting Chinese. I've seen a lot of Chinese, either diplomats or officials or business people, and they are really smart when conducting businesses. So they have their own limitations, they are own strategies, they have their sort of calculating the impact and the win-win situation. So within GCC, and also this is right for the Chinese, we always look at opportunities when there is a win-win situation, not a zero-sum game. So we will keep that sort of open door and discussion. And this is really important. This is, by the way, part of our culture. We always are open for discussions historically. We know we will always have differences, but we will have sort of discussions always when the Chinese, when there is a worry about anything as well.
Turn on the light. Yeah, thank you. It's the fifth time I have to tell them. I have always been very impressed by your diplomats in UAE, and today has only assured me that your country diplomatically is in good hands. So thank you very much.
I see the Council General smiling.
Any question from the floor? The lady at the back, and then.
Hi, good evening, His Excellency. I'm Jan Yumel from China Daily. Very interesting topic. I'd just like to go back on Gaza. You said you're always looking to start somewhere. You're always looking for a solution. How are you navigating this when the goalposts are always changing when it comes to the ceasefire deal? And secondly, would you say sanctions could be part of the solutions, one of the solutions, sanctioning Israel, as some countries are doing now? Just an example, I think Carrefour, the big supermarket chain in the GCC, they closed in Kuwait and Bahrain. I read somewhere that some people are boycotting these brands and products. So how could you communicate that here in the region? How would you assure us?
Sure.
Thank you.
I'll answer your first part of the question when it comes to trying different techniques. The situation is really complicated. It's been since 1948 until now. Americans are hugely supporting Israelis, certain European countries. Israelis have a huge capabilities when it comes to military, cybersecurity, intelligence, so and so. So the situation is complicated. It has a different sort of lenses. You cannot look at it from only a one dimension. It has a historical context. It has a religious, ideological context. So finding a solution, it's not an easy thing. There is the two-state solutions, which almost all we agree on when it comes to as an end-game solution. But given the current situation, all of us, I mean us, Qataris, Saudis, Americans, Europeans, are pressuring both sides to compromise. If you want to reach a deal, you need to compromise. You cannot reach a deal without compromisation. So this is what I mean by starting somewhere and then building on it. When it comes to sanctions, it is a really complicated economics, legal sort of thing. If you want to put sanctions on a countries, are you going to put UN sanctions? Then you need a UN Security Council approval sort of thing. Are you going to put a certain state sanctions on another state? Then you have a sort of a political, economic calculations. And if you put sort of a sanctions with the huge American support for the Israelis, with Germany support, how much is the sanctions will impact the internal situations? You need always to look at it from different lenses. So for normal people, they will always see sanctions as a might be a solution. But if you look at the political security thing, security will always come first. So even if you put sanctions on me, I will always consider security threats as coming first beyond sanctions. So sanctions is a really complicated legal situation. What I can assure you, we are spending a huge time as United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Egyptians, Saudis, Americans discussing the de-escalation. And there is a deal on a table. It might not be the most sophisticated, nice deal that all parties can accept, but it has certain points where we should start with. We should save the lives of the people. We should release hostages. We should release prisoners from both parties, and then we should start somewhere. So I can assure you that the region, the main players within the region, along with US, are spending huge time discussing this on a daily basis to move parties to compromise and to reach a deal. But the situation is devastated. It's really sad. It's a really bad situation. But this is the international politics as well that we have to deal with.
The gentleman in the fourth row in the middle. Yeah. And then Jonathan Stone at the back on my left. And then... Don't touch it, just speak.
Okay. Hello, I'm Charlie Chow from Main Power Daily News. I would like to ask the questions also on Israel. After the October 7 events, Israel became more military assertive in the region, not only in Gaza, also in West Bank, also in Lebanon, and even onto directly attacking Iran. So, how do UAE view on a more military assertive Israel in the region, in the Middle East, what it means to your country and even to the whole region?
It's the opposite of what we believe on. We always believe on peace and safety. We always believe on diplomatic solutions. And this is our way of conducting diplomatic relations. I mean, let me give you an example with Iran. As a United Arab Emirates, we have a huge differences when it comes to Iran. Actually, they are occupying our 3 islands since 1970s. But we do maintain a good economic relation with Iran. So our way of conducting business is that we don't need wars. We need more de-escalation. We need peace within the region. We need a sort of a de-escalation, and we will be always pushing toward that. When it comes to Israelis attacking Iran, I mean, we had a really frank position as GCC countries and United Arab Emirates that we are against any attacks on Iran. We are against any sort of escalation on any countries. But also you need to look, from Israelis, it's a sort of a winning situation. We attacked Gaza, we need to attack Iran, we can attack Hezbollah, we have American support, and it has also to do with the personality of Netanyahu. So if you want to see it from the Israelis' perspective, which we don't agree with, it has their own different reasoning of sustaining the current government, the character of Netanyahu himself, the extremist Ben Gvir and others within their government. But the GCC countries, United Arab Emirates, are all with peace. We don't want any more escalation within the region. We have enough conflicts. We don't need more conflicts within the region. And on every single day, our politicians, diplomats, business people are trying to find solutions and to de-escalate the situation.
Donald Trump says that Netanyahu has agreed to the terms of the deal. But of course, coming from Donald Trump, I don't know if I should trust it or not, but anyway, we'll see. Jonathan Stone from Christie's over there, and then the gentleman on my right. Jonathan.
Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you, Your Excellency, for a really insightful and interesting talk. Ronnie said I'm from Christie's, so I'm going to shift the question a little bit. I'd be fascinated to know what the UAE's cultural and artistic policy is, which, of course, personally, I think is really important in terms of building bridges, sustaining a future, and has a huge role to play in building and developing a country. Thank you.
This is a good question. I mean, I'm kidding. All of them are really good questions.
Thank you.
Culture is really important for us as United Arab Emirates. As a matter of fact, currently in United Arab Emirates, there are 200 nationalities living in peace, harmony. We believe on tolerance, coexistence. So we are really a hub when it comes to connecting different nations, different businesses. Culture and art is really important for us. We have a sort of a huge exhibitions in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, but I'm not sure if you are aware of Saadiyat district. It's a huge culture district in Abu Dhabi called Saadiyat. We have already a Louvre museum there. We have Sheikh Zayed Museum opening soon, and Guggenheim
Very
Museum will
impressive.
open at a later stage. So you should visit that place. We have also different seminars and talks when it comes to culture and art. We always believed, and we are still believing, that government relations are important. Businesses relations are important. But if you really want to sustain relation, you need people to people relation. And how you can achieve that? By culture ties, education, art, exchange programs, researchers, think tankers. So UAE is all about connecting the dots. So culture and art is also at the heart of our foreign policy, not only internal policy, but it has a huge pillar when it comes to our foreign affairs. Actually, we have a dedicated assistant minister and the minister of state within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for culture ties and culture diplomacy and art diplomacy as well.
Great. Jonathan, you
Hopefully you can visit us in Saadiyat district.
You should. I've been there. It's
If
impressive.
you haven't been there, you should take him.
Amazing.
Otherwise, I'll take him.
In fact, we here in Hong Kong have been trying to bring the Abu Dhabi art community and the Asia Society's New York head office, our art team there, put them together to do work, to do exhibitions together. The gentleman over there, and then after that, Mr. Glenn Falk in front.
Yeah, hi, Your Excellency. This is Sunny from the Belt and Road Office of the Hong Kong government. We are interested to know from the UAE government's perspective, how do you see Hong Kong, and what are the priorities and areas that you would like to collaborate with Hong Kong? Thank you.
Thank you for that question. I feel a bit embarrassed answering that question while our Consul General is sitting here in front of us, because he will be the perfect person to answer that question. Actually, this is my first visit to Hong Kong, but being
Welcome.
thank you, and I'll do more visits. But being part of the UAE's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Hong Kong is a really important partner for us. Hong Kong is a financial hub. So you witnessed, for example, back in September, ADX Abu Dhabi Securities Exchange signed an MOU with the Hong Kong exchanges and clearings to cooperate on ETFs, stocks markets, so and so. Also, Hub 71, which is a unique innovation platform, back in UAE signed different MOUs with different entities and Science Park here at Hong Kong. So we look at Hong Kong as an important place for us, an important trading partner, as a sophisticated financial hub. Also, it's a main gateway when it comes to mainland of China, other places. So it's an important financial hub, an important innovation hub, and we are also, along with the Consul General, myself, part of my visit, we went also to enhance that educational sort of culture exchange when it comes to Hong Kong. So we look really positively to Hong Kong as a gateway. Also, connectivity is important for United Arab Emirates, and it's also equally important to Hong Kong. So we think both of us, we can build on that sort of strength when it comes to connectivity. But if I forget anything, I'm sure the Consul General will be more than happy to add to that during the dinner as well.
Afterwards, come up and talk to the Consul General. He's very friendly. Glenn Falk, and then the lady behind him.
Is he more friendly than me?
He has been a friend for a lot longer. Maybe you will prove otherwise.
Thank you, Ronnie, and Your Excellency. My question really is, I'm quite your statement earlier that you transform UAE from a 75% oil industry-related country, and then 10 or 20 years later, you are now 75% in non-oil. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey? How do you educate your population, and how do you treat them, and how do you train them to be able to adapt in such a short time?
Okay. Thank you for that question. Actually, let me start answering it by quoting our president, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, His Highness. He came out on a conference and then he said, my people, UAE people, people living on this land, let's one day celebrate the last shipment of oil that we export. So we had that leadership support sort of a vision that we are a huge oil production country, but let's not be sad at a certain stage. Let's actually celebrate shipping the last shipment of oil and exporting it to that nation. So it started with a mindset and the direction of the leadership. And then currently, if you look at our educational curriculum, it has been changing. We are teaching our young people, even diplomats, by the way, more about AI, more about sustainability, more about climate change, more about new opportunities. Currently, our diplomats, for example, consul general, but also ambassadors, when they attend meeting, they will speak about politics, but also they will market economic opportunities in the United Arab Emirates. And this is a big shift. If you ask me, for example, leading the diplomatic academy, actually I was student, by the way, in this academy, and now I'm part of the leadership. 10 years ago, we will teach politics mainly, 80% or 90% politics. Currently, actually, we teach politics, we teach AI diplomacy, we teach climate change diplomacy, food security, AI diplomacy. So whenever there is a willingness from the leadership and the direction, that will cascade to different sectors within the United Arab Emirates. Let me give you one final example. When the leadership actually said AI is important for us, new technologies are important for us, we assigned back in 2017 a minister for AI. I'm not sure how many countries have a minister of AI by now, but we assigned a minister of AI back in 2017. 2018, we initiated Mohammed bin Zayed AI University. So we established a huge university when it comes to AI. I mentioned the deals when it comes to AI, hosting data center, but also months ago, there was a cabinet resolution saying in every educational system and grade, you need to teach AI. So it started with the leadership vision. It went to the Sovereign Wealth Fund, investing hugely on AI, attracting talented people to AI. It went all the way down to different schooling system, injecting curriculum on AI, but it also went to the private sector, Sovereign Wealth Fund, different companies investing in AI. So it started there and then it cascaded to the whole system within United Arab Emirates. So this is the way we conduct business. It does not only be occupied by the leadership or by university, it is the whole system functioning as a one body.
What do you use as a teaching medium? Arabic, English, French? Your dean is from France, so what do you teach in English or?
We do have mainly our courses in English, but we also teach some courses in Arabic, but we have also a third languages courses. So some of our young diplomats will be taking French, Spanish, different language, Chinese as well. We have people who speak Chinese within our academy, but also the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And we have the first Chinese scholar joining us.
Dr.
Dr. Ting Wang, exactly.
Tsinghua University, now a research fellow there.
Absolutely, at the academy. Well, actually, I always joke, at the academy we have a Chinese, an Indian, and a Pakistani. They have their offices next to each other and they don't fight.
Very good. The lady on the third row.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Ahlan wa sahlan.
Ahlan wa sahlan.
So obviously the Hong Kong government is trying really hard to kind of attract investment and talent from the Middle East. But obviously we don't have kind of a big pool of people who are very knowledgeable about like the language, the culture, the politics in the Middle East. So what do you think are kind of like the resources that we need in Hong Kong, or like the media steps that we can take to kind of like build this pool of experts and professionals that are adept to kind of the landscape of the Middle East in order to attract more talent investments?
Part of my visit here actually to do that. It's both ways. We need also to send Emiratis more here to Hong Kong. So part of my visit is to send more Emiratis to discuss with the University of Hong Kong, different think tanks, to send scholars and Emiratis here. But I would encourage you to be out there. Sometimes it's a mindset. We need to explore different cultures. We need to visit different countries. You will hear a lot about Dubai. And sometimes currently with the AI, we could just go online, we Google things, or we use DeepSeek to ask questions about different things instead of going there, being courageous and visit different nations. So you will know United Arab Emirates, I'll know Hong Kong. I haven't been to Hong Kong. This is my first visit. I don't know if you've been to Dubai or Abu Dhabi. It takes a flight actually. The world is connected. So we should have a more people-to-people relation when it comes to exhibitions of education. We need to have an exchange of students, scholars, think tankers. We need to publish things together. We need to understand each other, and it will grow automatically and healthy. But we need to start somewhere, and this is part of my visit. So I would encourage every single one who did not visit UAE. I'm not marketing UAE now, but I would encourage every single one here to visit United Arab Emirates. And I'm sure the Consul General has plans also to bring more delegations visiting Hong Kong. So I expect growth when it comes to cultural educational ties.
Let me have a show of hands. How many of you have been to, be careful, Abu Dhabi, not UAE only in general, but Abu Dhabi? You have been to Abu Dhabi, please raise your hands. Thank you. How many of you have been to UAE, Dubai included, or Al Ain? Wow.
That's a good number.
That's a good number. How many of you have been to GCC in general, whether it is Oman, Kuwait, Qatar, the GCC countries? So all those who raised their hand just now should raise their hand again, right? Thank you. Okay, can we have maybe one or two other questions before we call it a day? Because the dinner is ready to be served for a private, the lady in the middle.
Will they ask me more questions during the dinner?
Yes, I'm afraid. In Hong Kong, we have no free dinners.
Okay.
In fact, the tough questions will be at dinner.
Absolutely.
This is the easy stuff. Yes, lady.
Okay, just a question. We were talking about businesses. The big players are there for AI database centers. Any suggestions for the small SMEs, what we can do to invest? Because sustainability, everybody's talking, but when we try to sell, nobody wants to really do that. I mean, I'm in business. I'm a small potato, like we say in Hong Kong. But whenever I try to sell something which is sustainable, people don't want to pay that extra 10, 20 cents also. People are talking, but businesses are not adapting as quickly. The smaller businesses, I'm not talking about bigger guys. So any suggestions what the smaller people can do?
I'll try to give you an answer because I'm not a businessman, I'm a diplomat. But within the UAE context, we do hugely support small and medium enterprises and companies. So we have specific hubs and programs within Dubai and Abu Dhabi and Sharjah to support small and medium companies to grow and even startups to grow more. So we have specific programs when it comes to UAE to support small medium companies, inject money, investment into them, educate them on marketing plans, how they can sell their goods and services to the right segment. So within the United Arab Emirates, we have an ecosystem where we support small and medium enterprises. I'm not sure about Hong Kong, but I think there is also a chance there to cooperate when it comes to having platforms that can support small and medium. But within our Ministry of Economy, different sort of sovereign wealth fund, we have a huge sort of dedication to support small and medium enterprises and companies. And I think the new generations and business people have more tools when it comes to marketing, AI, social media that they need to use effectively to target the right market when it comes and segments when it comes to marketing their goods and businesses as well. But within UAE, we have a huge ecosystem supporting small and medium enterprises and companies.
One last. Andy Tong.
Excellency, thank you so much for sharing your time with us. It's really grateful. Just a question, since particularly since all the tariff actions that have gone on, there's been quite a, shall I say, unstable sort of financial markets and some talk about sort of perhaps a lot of investors rebalancing their portfolios, potentially away from U.S. dollar assets. Could you share kind of UAE's kind of thoughts about this, in terms of the necessity or not of this type of rebalancing? Thank you.
Thank you for that question. I mean, I won't comment on a U.S. Monetary or tariffs policy because it's a U.S. policy, but I'll comment on it from a UAE perspective and my personal thing. First of all, I hope you bought some stocks when the market went down because I did that. So I hope you did that as well because it was an amazing opportunity to buy more stocks. And I think Ronnie did buy millions of stocks. So it was an opportunity to buy stocks. The dynamics are shifting. The markets are really changing. Our perspective when it comes to that, we still have a huge investments in US. We know that there is a governing party currently. We know that after a few years there will be a new party and there might be different sort of implications. As a UAE, we have a really resilient economy when it comes to different things. So we do expect, and we have four see different situations and difficulties. Being in such dynamic region with a lot of conflicts, you have to be resilient. So we have built that resilient and sort of economic diversification, because China might change some policies, US might change some policies. So we are resilient enough to deal with such things by diversifying our investment and economy. We are still a huge investors when it comes to the US markets, because it's a huge market. No one can deny that, and we are still investing hugely. We are impacting by different policies. I think it's every single nation is impacted in a way or another. But our way of looking at things, that within such dynamics, within such changes, within such challenges, there will be always a hidden opportunities where you can actually maximize your benefits and wealth when it comes to opportunities. So we have that sort of look. There will be challenges, there are changes of policies. How we always ask ourselves how we can benefit from such situation. Shall we divert our investment to different markets? Shall we buy more on this, inject more money on that? So we always have that sort of ecosystem of foreseeing thing, but also identifying opportunities within challenges. So tariffs, of course, are challenges for every single nation, including us, but also we saw opportunities to maneuver within such tariffs policies imposed by the United States.
Thank you.
And may I mention also one important figure?
Please.
For example, last year and the year before, we attracted the largest number when it comes to the high net worth individuals as United Arab Emirates. So if you look at the numbers of millionaires that US and Singapore attracted last year, we attracted more than them combined.
Wow. And they're mostly
Millionaires
from where? Russia? Where are they from?
Different places. Indians, Russians, Europeans also, Americans, Chinese. So if you combine both US and Singapore when it comes to attracting millionaires, we attracted actually more than both of them combined.
Wow.
And we are expecting to attract more this year and going forward.
I thought you were a friend, Mohammed. You're taking away business from us. No, but the world is very big. I'm sure there's plenty to share.
It can fit us all.
It can fit us all. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're delighted that, to have such a program. Hong Kong always prides itself to be an entrepot where we connect people. But the reality is, in the past, we connect mostly to Europe and then to the United States, to Japan, to Southeast Asia, and that's about it. But I think that with the UAE, the GCC countries rising very, very quickly, we have to build connectivity with that part of the world. And Asia Society is very happy that we can play a little role in doing that by bringing excellent, smart people like our guest of honor here today. So thank you for joining us.